Alright, what's up guys? I hope you enjoyed the last video. I'm picking up right where I left off pretty much on the last video. And I just want to talk about why I picked this vehicle. And there's a few things that make sense and a few things that don't. And, you know, I went through so many different vehicles, doing so much research, so many test drives of vehicles that I could get instead of this one, but this one ended up winning, and I'll tell you why. It is just a great mix of everything. You know, you have the V8, and I wanted an automatic, plus I can make this a convertible over the summer. You know, take the top off. I guess you could call it a Targa top. I don't know if that's the right terminology for it. But it has great power. It sounds amazing. It handles great. There's a lot of aftermarket things you can do to this. And keep in mind, some of the vehicles that I was pretty much putting up against this was S550 Mustangs, Mustang GTs. Those are great vehicles for the price point, and they were in the same price range as this vehicle. And they're much newer, better technology, better features. Everything is great about those vehicles, and I drove one and I did fall in love with it. But that car did sell. I, at that point, was not even looking at these because there were not really that many around me that I could test drive and feel out and see if I liked it. And there's some other cars. There were some Audis that I was looking at, mainly just the Audi S5. That's the biggest one with the V8. Not the newer ones with the V6s, although those are great cars, and I have a buddy that has an S4, and his car's amazing. But mostly just the V8 ones with the 4.2 liter. I did look at the RS5s of that generation with the V8 as well. Those cars are great, but they're just very pricey, and there are some guys that I know that have those cars, and they love them, and I think those are going to really go up in value. These cars hold their value because they are just so good at what they do, and especially the C6 with the LS3s. Compared to the LS2 model vehicles, these cars are just great. And, you know, I really did have to do a lot to find this car. Believe it or not, that's actually my first car right there. That was my first ever car that I bought. It was a 2005 Camry. My dad had a 2006 Camry that I learned how to drive on. And that car actually was sold after it had some mechanical issues. And then, yeah. But, sorry, I got sidetracked a little bit. But yeah, why this car? It just, I don't know, it's perfect. It's a great sports car. You know, the Mustang had back seats, and I believe so did the Audi. The Audi did as well. I don't need back seats. Not for this car, not for a car that I'm only going to drive on the weekends, and I don't plan on having anyone sitting in the back seats. I have a 4Runner that can do exactly that. And there's no reason for me to have back seats. I know you can take them out, but I don't know, it's just, there was no need for it. And if I took them out, there's no place I could put them. I wouldn't want to sell them. A lot of new construction going on here. But I wouldn't want to sell them because I'd want to keep them with the car, so I just have to leave them in. But I think to make out for it, this car has a massive trunk, and you can actually stow the top away in the trunk, which is great, actually. And I mean, what else could there be about this vehicle? I don't know. There's not really much. And to me, this is my first performance vehicle, my first sports car, so I wanted it to be just perfect. You know, the paint's perfect, the interior is perfect, it's a well taken care of vehicle. This was a one owner car when I bought it, I would be the second owner now. And the first owner really didn't drive it. I bought it with, I think 16, almost 17,000 miles on it. I've since then taken it to 19,400. And it's still climbing because I drive the heck out of this car. And I mean, that's the whole point of the vehicle, you know? I would like to put some wheels, some nicer tires, and a little bigger tire on here. But yeah, I mean, the Audi was great as well. I did get to drive one of those, and I like the interior on that vehicle. You know, it actually had like a nice usable screen, but I mean, I don't really care for the screen. Like, this car has no screen, and it really does not bother me, because that's not what the car is for. I want to drive the car. I want to feel the car. I don't need to look at a screen, but it would be nice, and I do plan on adding one in eventually. For those road trips, you know, it makes it more easier. And somewhere I could charge my phone, because right now I'm using aux. I can't charge my phone at the same time. But yeah, the Audi was great. They're a little newer than this. I think I was looking at 2011s, 2012s. And those cars were actually really nice. But, and much, much below my budget, which was great. But the aftermarket for those V8s, there's really not much you can do to them besides the exhaust and maybe some wheels. You can swap out the grill, maybe put some more sportier grills in, but other than that, there's not really much you can do to that type of vehicle, which I found kind of as a turnoff, because I do want to do stuff to this vehicle, and like I mentioned, I mean, this car might not stay, but I always had the possibility of doing more modifications to it, you know, making it my own. Look at that. That was a really cool helmet. But yeah, there's really, like, that was one of my big selling points too, you know. I want a car that I can do stuff to, you know. Some things could include a nice little wide body, from like the Grand Sport, for example, and I don't know, nicer wheels. But I mean, really, that was the reason why I picked this over everything else. And I mean, buying a Corvette is so much more of an experience than buying a Mustang, for example. You know, all the Corvette buyers and just the people that are around the Corvettes, you tend to see, you meet new people, you meet nice people, they're great people, and yeah, I mean, I could park this car in a parking lot somewhere and it'll get some attention, and I'll always have people walk up to me and tell me their stories about Corvettes that they've had, and all these great experiences I've had with the vehicles. And well, honestly, I can't complain. I don't know if I'd get that through a Mustang. And people love it. Cars and Coffee, people love the car, and I'm happy that people like it, because I do like to share the emotion, because it makes me happy, and I hope it makes other people happy. You know, I'm not someone that goes into a parking lot and does donuts or disturbs people, because I just want people to like the vehicle, you know, and pass that car culture on to someone else. That's an interesting spot to put a bike. But yeah, there's really no other reason why I picked this vehicle, and it was at the perfect price point. It was a perfect vehicle, really. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Mechanically, it's perfect. I do want to do some more maintenance to it before the summer months roll around. I did actually, the battery was not charged because I don't have a trickle charger for this vehicle, or just something to keep the juices flowing. And well, in the end, it actually died for a little bit when I turned the vehicle on, and but it did turn on, and no problem. Still the original battery, not from the time, but the original battery, as in I didn't have to swap out the battery. But yeah, I mean, other than that, there really isn't much to this vehicle. This car's perfect, And I recommend that if you have the opportunity to pick one up, pick one up. I mean, if you're able to, at least, sure, do it. And I don't think you'll regret it. Biggest piece of advice from myself as an owner of this vehicle is maybe get a nice pre-purchase inspection done, of course by the dealership that you're buying it from, and if they allow it, take a mechanic or take the vehicle to another mechanic that you trust, get a nice pre-purchase inspection done, and if everything checks out, sure, go for it. It's a great vehicle to buy, and I recommend anyone pick up a nice C6 Corvette. There's really not much else I would like to touch on with this vehicle. I mean, it's a great car. I think it's a perfect fit for anyone that may want one. There's a lot of opportunities with this vehicle. You can just do so much to them that, I mean, I think it's a win-win either way, even if you keep it stock or if you go all the way and build the car up. And there's so many ways you can take this vehicle too. You can make it a track weapon. You can take it to the strip and make it a straight line demon, you know. And because it weighs so little compared to all these bigger cars like Mustangs, Challengers, Camaros, it really does have the edge on those vehicles. And this being a 2008 compared to vehicles from 2015 and up is even better, and it really does drive a hard bargain against those vehicles. And although I do think it's a little overpriced for its age, it still holds up against these new cars, which is really all that matters. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much why I picked this vehicle. And I don't know if there's really much else I want to do to this car. I do plan on keeping it for a little while, enjoy it while I can, but I think once I get tired of it, I'll probably swap out of it. I did mention maybe getting a truck in the future, but that's once I have a better income, as I am a student right now, so the income's pretty limited as a student. But yeah, I mean, beautiful scenery, beautiful day, great weather today. But yeah, let me know. I mean, if you have questions about why I picked the vehicle, or if you are interested in one and you have questions about maybe some maintenance, some parts problems, anything that may be wrong with the vehicle you're looking at, I can surely either give you some advice or I can point you in the right direction. And hopefully that helps of why I chose this vehicle. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave that thumbs up. Really does help me a lot. Gives me a good gauge of whether you like the content or not. Subscribe, and then leave a little comment. Share with your friends if they're interested in a vehicle. Other than that, that's really all I have for you guys today.